What's the worst thing you ever did, as a horny teenager?
Fingered my then girlfriend in the backseat of her parents' car as we were driving home from her grandfather's funeral. I don't know who's more f***ed up, me or her.
That's one way of remembering Pop.
The fact that you call it that means you're still too young.
Yeah. I distinctly remember that after all eulogies were given at the funeral home for my ex's grandfather, her parents drove us to the cemetery for the burial. I had my arm over her to console her, and she slowly moved my hand over her boob. Moved it back as it was inappropriate. I assume it was just because her emotions were wild from grieving.
Funerals get people going.
You're not alone. I gave my then boyfriend a BJ at his grandfather's wake. I still feel guilty about it. I can only imagine how he feels.
You've definitely seen Wedding Crashers then.
Rubbed one out while riding a bicycle. I was on a long-distance bike tour in rural Wisconsin.
How the f***?
Multitasking at its finest.
That's actually pretty impressive.
Should be Olympic.
The Ole Jackie cycle.
I believe that's called a bicycle pump.
Look ma, no hands.
My boyfriend and I scrounged up enough money for an hour at the local motel. Soon after we realized I locked the keys in the car. We had no money and couldn't call anyone, so we broke a window out. Played dumb the next day when my parents saw my window.
Used a can of dry shampoo to masturbate with. Only I used the capped end. The lid came off and got stuck in my vag. Took ages to get it out as the edges of the cap were stuck behind the opening. I bled a little.
That sounds funny and awful. However, at the first sentence I was trying to figure out how I could whack it, penis, with dry shampoo. Ha ha.
You can use soap to crank the meat lever, though you may give yourself a brush burn. Source: was a horny dumbass in my earlier years, before I discovered lotion.
Same here, but with a can of lady shaving cream. I totally freaked out when the lid came off. I was wondering how I was going to explain this when I went to the emergency room to get it removed. Luckily I got it out myself and never used it again.
You are truly lucky. There's lots of people that come to the ER with unsolved situations like yours.
The banana peel wrapped in duct tape. Then I flushed it down the toilet, and it actually got stuck. Naturally I was horrified that it would come back up as my dad was sitting there plunging the toilet, trying to figure out why it was blocked up. Thankfully it ended up going through and I never had to explain why a duct-taped banana peel was in the plumbing.
My parents like traveling, even though we don't have much money. We finally went to Washington, D.C., so we wanted to spend loads of time. I got super horny, and I nutted in the Lincoln Memorial bathroom.
That's exactly what the Founding Fathers created America for.
It's the ejaculation proclamation.
The erection election.
Emancipating your load. Lincoln would be proud.
Gives coming to America a new meaning.
You did it, for America, son.
Went off the trail at the Grand Canyon, and wagged in the bushes.
That's extreme. At least you got a good view.
I thought I was home alone. My parents walked in on me and a vacuum cleaner getting acquainted. My dad couldn't stop laughing. My mom was horrified. Later on, it was the most uncomfortable dinner ever. My dad just sat there snickering in between bites of meatloaf, while the only thing my mom said to me the whole time was,
"Adam, eat."
Soon after that, I got the talk from my father. Edit: this got lost, so I'm moving it here for those asking. It created this airtight seal around my dick, but if I lifted the hose just slightly, it let enough air get through that it created a significant amount of vibration, which felt pretty amazing if I remember it correctly. Yes, I did finish in it. It was actually my second go-round within a half hour or so when they caught me. Edit 2, thank you so much for the silver and gold awards. You guys are too kind.
Officer Doofy?
I told you not to bother me when I'm cleaning my room.
Mom told you to stop sticking your dick in the vacuum cleaner.
How was the talk like?
The standard parent-son advice, followed by a discussion about why it's a bad idea for guys to stick body parts into electrical equipment. Then the bastard thought it would be funny to warn me against planning a hookup with the wet and dry vacuum. Masturbate 17 times in 24 hours. Edit: a few people asked. No, I wasn't taking anything and I'm a guy. Also thanks for the gold.
The last 4 was just your wiener coughing up dust.
Dry heaving.
Ghost loads.
I've always called it ghostbusting.
My record is 22 times in 12 hours. Teenage me made some bad decisions.
Back when the recharge time was 15 minutes.
I cut a vagina and my stuffed koala from Build-A-Bear and went to town.
Well, those bears are supposed to be customized for you.
He should have sent it back and demanded one with a custom vagina.
I was about 17. And I was seeing this guy and we wanted to have sex. We both lived with our parents, so he got a motel room that he paid for using all of his money from a recent cash job he just did. It was the cheapest one we could find and was connected to a truck stop. We had a sex marathon that night. I felt like a prostitute minus the fact I didn't get paid. I cringe every time I drive past that motel.
Sounds pretty classy. I was out there in bushes and fields, facepalm.
Yeah, check out Uncle Moneybags over there, having sex in rooms and shit.
Sophomore year of high school, and my girlfriend and I became very acquainted with her parents' back porch in the alley near our school.
But you were one with nature. Just how God intended. Probably.
I was 21 when I first had sex, so not a teenager, but I still lived with my parents. My mum would burst into my room unannounced whenever she felt like it. So, naturally, my BF and I in the woods, empty parking lots, hiking trails, scenic highways, etc. etc. My poor car got a lot of backseat action where small things would get broken, cup holders, door handles and such. I cringe now, when I think of the trouble we could have gotten into.
I was the official porn distributor for my middle school. This was before Pornhub and smartphones. I was a good writer, so I would take commissions to write you and your crush self-insert erotica. If that wasn't up your alley, I had a massive binder of smut printed from the early internet. I'd staple stories into booklets and loan them out to other students based on whatever ship or budding kink they were into. Helped at least one of my friends realize he was gay. I have no idea how we never got caught.
A fap dealer.
Damn. You are doing an important public service, and I salute you.
This wasn't me, but it was something that the brother of a friend did. Basically, he was getting hot and heavy with his girlfriend, and noticed he did not have a condom. I guess he really wanted to have sex and he really wanted to use protection. Basically, he made a makeshift condom out of a Ziploc bag and some rubber bands and proceeded to have sex with his girlfriend with it to completion. Kudos to him for sticking with wrap it before you tap it though. Ziploc brand condoms.
I read this story in the perks of being a wallflower. Seems to be common.
Yep, read it there too.
My sister's friend in high school used saran wrap. He is a kid now. Bought my brother a fleshlight as a gag gift for Christmas. Ended up using it myself on Christmas Eve.
The real question here is if you went on to gift your brother the used fleshlight the next day.
Sloppy seconds.
Hey, no guilt, dude. Gotta make sure the merchandise works first, right?
Quality assurance is so underappreciated.
He might gag on that gift after all.
That's like that Simpsons episode, where Homer bought Marge a bowling ball for her birthday, knowing full well she would not use it, and give it to him anyway. I boiled some eggs and then tried to put them in my vagina, using mayo as lube.
Pretty sure I got that egg salad at a gas station once. Edit, thanks for the love.
I had a wonderful girl in my life from 12 till 17. She was truly beautiful inside and out, and we spent every moment we could steal away together. It started really innocently with sneaking out to watch a meteor shower in my family's field. She lived behind our land and would slip out in her tank top and shorts pajamas. I used to love laying out on a blanket rubbing her back, or playing with her hair in the moonlight. We would talk and eat the strawberry off the vines. One night she rolled on her back and her shadow actually showed her breasts. It was incredibly sexy to feel her up, and kiss her then just lay in the tall grass. We had a good run and ended up getting caught. Her dad screwed blocks of wood into the track in her window so she couldn't get out, but he left like 4 inches for airflow. This gave me an idea. I grabbed an orchard ladder and went up to her window. After some fingering and a lot of talking, I made a grievous error of standing on the top of the ladder and pushing my hips in to get my penis in the window. She began to blow me and I tensed, causing the ladder to slide. In my hurry I overcompensated and went backward to the ground through a huge bush. Problems really began when I stood up and a steering pin shot up from my dick. Her braces brackets dragged the length of my shaft and across my tip. It looked like someone ran a trencher the length of my dick and it hurt. I finally couldn't take the pain and swelling anymore, so I went to my dad. He always said if you tell the truth I will always back you up, and told him. Dad laughed for 10 solid minutes, then took me to the doctor. My girl didn't get busted, but it took a bit for us to get together again.
After reading through this, then scrolling through some more, I realized how different things such as jacking in the school bathroom are to this seemingly wholesome enough story.
It was a different place and time. The US was still in love with itself, and we lived like the 50s. It was pretty radical. We had any physical contact before like 17 at this time, but she felt safe with me, and I trusted her implicitly, so we had a solid foundation for the relationship. And toss a gallon of hormones on top and you get this. We did everything but the thing, and loved every second. Memory of her got through misery in Vietnam, and time with her taught me how to be caring and loving and physical without being over the top. Everything in life teaches a lesson, and she was a masterclass in being a decent man.
I walked 16 miles to a girl's house to spend the weekend smashing without any parents around. She made moose steaks, had some pot, and knew volumes more about sex than I had ever known. It still stands as a top 3 life moments after 40 years.
Mom walked in on me, jerking it to furry port. I think she knew I was jerking it. I hope she didn't see to what I was jerking it to. Started locking the door after that, which signaled to my mom that, yup, I was masturbating in there, which prompted a short talk about healthy habits, etc.
When I was around 15, had sex with a friend at her parents' house in her younger sister's room. Weird, but wouldn't complain, because sex. Halfway through noticed closet is ajar. See someone peeking, but I was really into it and didn't want to stop. Left as soon as I finished because I felt bad, embarrassed and scared of parents coming back. Brought it up after, and this girl told me she charged her sister £20 to watch, because she liked me. We did it 3 more times before it progressed.
This thread made me feel so much more normal.
It's making me horny.
Wank to a picture of a naked guy I drew. I can't draw. Also found my mom's dildo, and used it. I used a condom and cleaned it.
Hygienic.
I went to my friend's house. He lived with a friend, and this friend had a sister who was honestly the most attractive human being I've ever met. Went to the bathroom to piss, see her underwear on top of the hamper, picked it up and sniffed it, cause I'd seen in movie once and wanted to know what it was like. I immediately got a hard on and had to stay in there for like 10 minutes for it to go away, cause I was definitely not beating at my friend's bathroom. Still can barely look her in the eyes, and this was about 4 years ago.
I was heading to a girl's friend's house and was super excited. As I got close, she texted and said to turn up naked. But as naked. She said if I did she would answer the door naked too. Of course I wanted that, but it was her friend's house and I was worried her friend would look out the window as I got there or some shit. She had her own date and they were in her bedroom, which faces the road, but I completely caved and did it. I have no idea if the friend or anyone else on the street saw. It worked though, so no regrets. I also climbed onto their kitchen roof, so she could let me in through the window one time, and I honestly don't remember why. Girlfriend at the time's parents ran a church. They were heavily religious, she wasn't. One day we head to parents' church with her dad because he needs to grab some paperwork or something, and he leaves us just inside the entrance in a smallish entry hall. As soon as he goes through one of the doors, she drops to her knees and starts blowing me. At this point I'm in shock and my 17-year-old body goes into overdrive and I last about 2 minutes and nut in her mouth. We tidy ourselves up and a couple of minutes later he comes back and we leave. Still one of the best moments of my life, although morally wrong.
Had sex in a graveyard. Yeah, weird, I know.
Did you do the boning or get boned? Thanks for letting the skeleton out of the closet. I'll show myself out. Threesome with my best buddy, and my sister's friend. My dad walked in on myself, and my friend naked, each with a handful of my younger sister's friend's boobs. He told my friend to get out of my room, so I just solo banged her. My dad never brought that up after that night. I was actually in more trouble for throwing up in the swimming pool than I was for having a small sex party in my bedroom during my sister's birthday.
I hid a girl's shoe in the dryer so she'd stay at my house longer. We ended up having sex.
How did you go about giving the shoe back?
I just told her I found it in the dryer but denied putting it there. It was pretty funny.
If it's stupid, and it works, it isn't stupid.
You know, I thought I was a really horny teenager, but reading these comments makes me feel like a Puritan.
I pretty much feel like Jesus after having spent time in this thread.
Isn't that always like it with AskReddit threads? There's always a dude who crushes your definition of crazy.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and ring the notification bell.